welcome back to the Dog Bowl Food Truck. And before we dive into this episode, I need to clarify something. So, with last episode, I recorded the main bulk of the episode. What am I kidding? Main bulk. Hope you guys enjoy the hour-long special. Uh, but I recorded the whole, main story part of the episode. Then I realized with Chase going through Leo's phone, that would probably be a good point to add in the phone side story, because I knew what it was about, I just hadn't read it, obviously. This whole thing has been completely blind reactions, I don't know what's going on most of the time. And I have, zero clue. So, I recorded the whole episode, then I recorded the phone side story. That side story dredged up some emotions, to say the least. I'm sure it's obvious that that side story got under my skin. Oh. And I'd like to think it's completely understandable and relatable, well, maybe not relatable, but understandable why I'm fully on board with the chunt crowd now, because let's just take the sequence of events, right? So Chase and Leo don't have a perfect relationship. It's a little rocky. Leo loses his temper sometimes, but also Chase seems to be a little bit of a little shit. A little bit of a poker, a prodder. And on top of that, you have Jenna off to the sidelines doing whatever the fuck she can to make sure that the relationship doesn't happen, apparently. So January rolls around, and Chase gets his acceptance letter to Pueblo. Right? He gets his acceptance letter. Doesn't tell Leo. February rolls around. Doesn't tell Leo. March rolls around. Doesn't tell Leo. April rolls around. Doesn't tell Leo. And finally, halfway through May, he decides, hey, let's play this prank. Let's play a prank. Lol, I'm gonna pretend that I'm cheating on Leo. While knowing full well that he's been accepted to Pueblo and he's gonna take that opportunity. I'm gonna be real here. That brought me back to a time in my life I never want to go back to. My first boyfriend, and feel free to cringe, but I met my first boyfriend through DeviantArt. We were long distance, and I didn't understand what all went into a relationship like that. But what I did know is I asked, and he said yes. And we were happy. At least I thought I was. I thought we were happy. I don't know if it was a slow descent. I don't know if it was a sudden shift. I don't know if he just had a bad day. And that, made him become the Joker. What I do know is that over time, he started to change. He started to be cranky with me. He started to be short with me. He started to not really want to do the things we did, which mostly was just chatting through the DeviantArt text chat back when it actually had that. And role-playing, because, we were uwu little teenagers. But he began to say things to me and to treat me in a way that you shouldn't treat anyone. He was 1, maybe 2 years older than me, probably more like 1.5. And every now and again, he would just slap that down in the middle of an argument, like, I'm a year older than you, I know better. And just put me down. And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything we were just talking about? And he would dodge the fucking question. And then the next day, we would get up, we would talk about whatever the fuck, and if I tried to bring up how that wasn't cool, he would tell me that I should toughen up and, like, learn that, you know, relationships are give and take, or just some generic shit like that. And it only got worse, because there were days that I would be upset, that I was having a bad day, and he would just blow me off, like, just completely not acknowledge it. Just act like I'm being unreasonable for being upset or having a bad day. I was in the middle of trying to be diagnosed on whether or not I had clinical depression. But the doctor that we were seeing didn't want to give me that label since I was in my mid-teens at the time. And apparently that so the doctor didn't want to give me that diagnosis because it would stick. And so we put me on Lexapro, I think was the specific thing that I was on. And that was causing all kinds of, like, weird emotional regulation issues. And then on top of that, factor in, and I don't know if this is true or what, but I've, in recent years, learned about some things that have happened to people that took Benadryl. And that was, like, the only medicine I could take because I was allergic, mildly, but I was allergic to whatever Tylenol had in it. It would make me break out into hives. So whenever I would get stuffed up or stopped up, I would have to take Benadryl. So all of this was happening, and I was having such a hard time understanding my own emotions and adjusting to the fact that my mom and my stepdad just had a divorce, and now I'm living in a completely different part of the state. I had to move schools again because during the divorce, which took like a year because it was ugly as fuck, I had to go to a different school where nobody knew me, and the school was like it was an Echo, where everybody knew everybody from kindergarten upwards. And I was this strange new outsider that acted weird, didn't know how to control his emotions, and then... So my point is that I went from a happy, or at least I thought it was happy home, to a completely broken home, to a new home that was trying to collect the pieces across the span of, like, what, 3, maybe 4 years? And then after we were thoroughly, like, moved up, like a year after we moved up and I was in my mid-teens, that's when I got my first boyfriend, and he descended into whatever the fuck he became. He acted like me crying was a waste of time. He acted like me being upset at him for him being mean to me was childish, and he dismissed me. But at the same time, he could just immediately turn it around and act like he was going to be my guardian figure, that he understood that I was having issues and would console me and make me feel better. And this would last long enough to where I would start to forget all the terrible things he said to me, only to then immediately the next week, or the next month, whatever, my grandma died. And I loved my grandma. Like, I loved my grandma. And she dies. And that fucking asshole tells me to tough it up. People die all the time. And he told me, I've told you before that I had to hold my pet in my arms as he died. So you need to understand that what you're experiencing right now is nothing. And he would dismiss me like that, make me feel small, make me feel stupid, make me feel irrational and emotional, and make me feel like there was this invisible scoreboard that every question he asked me had a right answer and a wrong answer, and it was up to me to figure out what the right answer was. And if I picked the wrong answer, then it was my fault, and my scoreboard would go down. I don't know how you can hate someone so much but refuse to leave them. And that's what I feel from Chase. That's what I feel from the Chunt. He does not love Leo. He might have at one point, but hiding the fact that you'll be moving away, pretending you've been cheating on him, getting mad that he got mad, that your prank didn't go the way you wanted it to, and then ghosting him when you do actually leave? I don't know what to say, but if Leo, it sounds like Leo is as fucked up as I was by his boyfriend. The only difference being that Leo held on to the hope, to the chance. I moved on, and I took the hurt that was inside me and I turned it on my future boyfriends. And that's something that I've had to learn to accept, and maybe not forgive myself, but at least accept and move on. Acknowledge that I did wrong, acknowledge what I did, and move on. But Chase, and now I gotta be real with you, as ick, as worrying, as troublesome, as red flag behavior, as the whole like lying to people to get Chase alone, to isolate him, to have like to really pressure him, it's nothing. Like, it's not nothing, but it's not nothing. It's something that needs to be acknowledged and noted, but in the grand scheme of their relationship, it's nothing. Chase even promised on his first day there, what was it, Saturday? Or, yeah, Sunday? Because they're right, he arrived Sunday, then they had Saturday was Southwest Adventures. No, yeah, they arrived Saturday, then Sunday was Southwest Adventures. Monday was the incident, the argument. So what I'm saying is that Sunday they promised to talk about it because he just fucking left. And it's fucked up, especially now that I know how the sequence of events went. No fucking wonder Leo has attachment issues. And then on top of that, he moved pretty early on in his life and was told to just accept it and be thankful that he has what he has. He's had everything in his life ripped away from him, it starts to feel like. So no wonder when he has a chance, he's gonna take it. He's not gonna go about it the best way or the most healthy way. But he's taking his chance. And the fact that Chase responds positively, saying, I love you, saying, yes, I would choose you, it only has validated what Leo has done. And I agree that, and while I might say that, I agree that relationships built on a lie are doomed to fail, this feels like such a complicated situation because Chase is just a bitch. He's a little bitch. And look, I know I've shied away from talking about it a lot, and now that it's finally out there about me and my first boyfriend and all the things that he left his fucking mark, it's because I finally am able to talk about it because I'm in a better place. Mentally, physically, emotionally. So I don't want anybody to worry about me on that regard. I'm dealing with what was left behind. I'm dealing with it, and I'm dealing with it in a far more positive manner than I ever did previously. And I just want to say, for anybody who did sit there and listen to me go on about this, thank you so much. Because this whole series, kind of a good quarter of the reason I started was to work through my issues, to build myself up, and to be able to be a better man. And I feel like I'm doing that. So thank you. Thank you, all of you who are listening. But I've already wasted over half the runtime. No, it's not a waste. Don't call it a waste. I've already spent over half the runtime. Let's go ahead and get some reading done. Leo wakes me up early the next day, telling me he had to settle some stuff with his dad at the shop. I don't get much of a chance to ask why or for how long before he's out the door, yelling something about food being in the fridge. I immediately fall back asleep, though, and when I open my eyes again, it's 2 hours later. Leo texted me half an hour ago. So, otter jump scare aside, or otter phone jump scare aside, I can't help but notice that Leo actually has a face, a photo now. Still at Pop Shop, but be back soon. I think. I swallow back down the lump of dread in my throat as I remember the text messages. I didn't want to confront him, not one bit, but I can't just let it sit. Something has to be said before I leave. I lay around for another 20 minutes before grabbing my phone to browse a bit. That's when I realized I hadn't charged it last night, my battery at just 25%. I groan and throw an arm over my eyes. One day left to do the project. I'm so far behind, though, that I'm not even feeling any anxiety about it at this point. Just resigned. Should have known better, really, that I wasn't going to get anything done with Leo around. I stare at the wall for a while longer before I force myself to sit up. No use lying around. I might not be making my best project, but it didn't mean I couldn't do a few things to make it less terrible. Food momentarily crossed my mind, but I shrug it off. I've never been a breakfast person anyway. As soon as I leave the house, I notice things are a bit off. Firstly, it's dead quiet. Usually there's some kind of drone, whether it's the wind or a plane overhead, there's usually something. No sound of birds either, and those were always chirping in the morning. I stand in the doorway for a bit, feeling a vague sense of tension, electricity in the air. Something building. I shake my head, feeling dizzy. That dream last night had fucked me up in all kinds of ways, so I'm not surprised that it's probably still messing with me. I'll be glad to be going from this place tomorrow. Some rustling next door draws my attention, and I see Kudzu carrying a set of clippers walk across his front yard. I open my mouth to say hi, but hold back, feeling self-conscious. His brooding nature was a bit intimidating, and I don't know if he's the kind of person who expects a greeting or not. I'm not left to wander long, though, because he spots me almost immediately and raises a hand. Morning. Oh, hey there. He grunts before setting his attention on a bush in front of him, sizing it up. I stand there awkwardly for a bit longer, wondering if that's the end of our exchange, but he speaks up again. Leo take off. He nods his head at the empty driveway. Oh, yeah, earlier this morning. I walk down from the porch and walk over to the edge of Leo's lawn so it doesn't feel like we're yelling at each other. Said something about having to take care of some business with his dad. I see. Kudzu stops trimming and looks at me before smiling. You can come on my lawn. It's not like I have an electric fence or anything. Man, I really like Kudzu, even though he is literally a thumb that got dipped in some fun fur. Boy ain't got a 5 head, he just has a tube from the shoulders up. He's like what was it, the Spy Kids, the Thumb Thumbs? Looking down, I see that I'm towing the edge of his immaculate lawn on Leo's side, looking like a little kid. I blush before stepping over to crunch along the tan-colored gravel he had set out. It's weird how nice it all is, especially compared to the shitty trailer sitting in the middle of it all. If he had an abode-styled house, the place would be Southwestern perfection. This all looks really nice. I guess gardening is your hobby? Thanks. Kudzu snips at the bush rather aggressively. I like it. It's what I do most of the day. The raccoon moves to the side of the bush, examining it. It's peaceful. He gives the bush another snip before resting a hand on his hip, while he lets the clippers dangle in the other. And it keeps you in shape. I can't argue with that. Although he's skinny, the muscles showed through the fur on his arms. He's probably the most in-shape guy I've seen in Echo. I realize that I'm staring and quickly snap my eyes back to his, but he's already smirking. I worry he's about to point out that he's caught me, but instead he gestures at my camera bag with his clippers. Gonna do something for your project? Yeah, need to get a bit more film before I leave tomorrow. The slender raccoon wipes his forehead with a forearm. Anything in particular? I think. Not really, just old stuff to show the town's age. Kudzu sticks the clippers into the ground, looking up as he seems to think. I know of a few things. You go to the old school? Yeah, I was headed there actually. And there's the ruins next to the lake. Yeah, I was gonna wait for Leo to drop me there later today. Other than that, there's an old rusted pump up the road. But I don't know if that's actually from Echo's earlier days. Couldn't hurt to look. Where is it exactly? Kudzu points over my shoulder up the road. Down past Duke's house. Right before the convenience store. It's kinda hidden back in some brush, but I can take you there. No, I mean, if it's not trouble. It's fine. I've got plenty of time to do this today. Well, alright, thanks. I shift the bag on my shoulder and stand to the side as Kudzu tosses the clippers beside the bush, then starts walking towards the road. I follow him quietly, again feeling awkward under his no-nonsense attitude. So you and Leo getting along? Yeah, we're having fun. My mind wanders back to the text messages and my stomach clenches. Good. He's been looking forward to this week for a while now. Wouldn't shut up about it last week. I'm somewhat surprised that it's Kudzu filling the silence between us. Not that I mind, he's pretty damn good at it for such a somber guy. I smile. Yeah, that's Leo. He really misses our old pack. Or does he? Kudzu huffs a laugh. Wolves. I agree. Wolves. As we walk, I can smell the heavy musk coming from the raccoon, mingled with his scent neutralizer, evidence of a hard day's work. There's something special about hanging out with another musky creature. It makes you less self-conscious. So I know you hate Peyton, but don't you have to go back there for work? Back in the day. Had a job studying desert plants after college. Good times. That would definitely put him a few steps above most everyone living in Echo, where a high school diploma is a rare thing. I'm a clerk in the town hall, so no, I'm pretty much always here. Always? Do you have a car? Sold it after I came here. Wow, you don't have to get out to shop for food? Sometimes. I grow and fish for what I can, and the convenience store has a surprisingly good produce section. But otherwise, Leo gives me rides once in a while. Oh, gotcha. Again, I'm curious about what exactly happened in Peyton. I'm gonna be gone by tomorrow, and I don't find the question to be too intrusive, especially with all the information he's provided me so far. So I don't want to be nosy. I let that statement hang for a moment, and Kudzu turns his head towards me. Then maybe you shouldn't ask. That stops me short, and I almost stop walking. I feel my face get warm even under the heat of the sun. I glance over at the raccoon, but his expression isn't accusatory or angry. It's just as neutral as it always is. Makes me wonder if this is just the raccoon's way of speaking. I already know how blunt he can be. I decide to trust what little I know about him and press forward. No? I ask it with the same straight face. Well, you should always ask yourself if asking something nosy is a good idea. No reason to do it if it's gonna piss someone off needlessly. Ah. Before I can even consider, Kudzu goes on. Now, considering what we were just talking about, I can probably guess what you were gonna ask. I can feel the embarrassment returning. Yeah? But before I answer, I have a question for you. I shrink a little more into myself. Yeah? Why do you care? The question definitely catches me by surprise, and at first I wonder if this is just Kudzu's way of telling me to shut up. But again, after looking at his face, I decide to just tell him the truth. I clear my throat. Well, I like you. You're a cool guy. It comes out rather lamely, but it's the truth. He has a demeanor of not really giving a fuck about what others think of him. It's like Flynn, except Kudzu doesn't seem like he was putting up a front at all. On top of that, he'd stepped in to stop a crowbar-wielding drug addict when he saw his friend in danger. Kudzu laughs, genuinely, and it's a bit startling. That's really the reason? I'm flustered again. Well, yeah. Fair enough. And I like you too. Leo was mostly right about you. What did Leo say about me? A lot of things, but you can't expect a wolf as love-smitten as he is not to exaggerate, can you? No. I guess not. I step on a particularly large rock and nearly lose my balance. Before I can even stumble, though, Kudzu's grasping my arm tightly, stopping me from running into him. Whoa, sorry, and thanks. The raccoon had damn fast reflexes. No problem. I start to walk again, but Kudzu doesn't move. I stop and glance at him, but he's looking up the road. Not at me. I lost someone in Peyton. It takes me a moment to realize what he's talking about, but then I do. By a guy with a gun who didn't give a fuck. I swallow and don't say anything, looking down at the ground. Happened on the same street we lived on. Of course, I have no idea what to say and wait for Kudzu to go on, but he doesn't. When I look up, I see that he's looking right at me. I swallow. Yeah, that would make me want to move too. Yeah. People. And there's less of them here. I'm sorry. Kudzu just looks back at me. Why? I open my mouth, but before I can say anything, Kudzu smiles. Getting. I let my breath out in relief and laugh a little. Well, should we keep going? I make as if to walk up the road again, but Kudzu doesn't follow. When I look back, he nods at the brush on the side of the road. It's right in here. Hold up. Hold up. We've seen this picture before. Yeah, we've been here before, in that random-ass interlude in Carl's route, the one where Chase is talking about feeling good after crying, and then he looks up and he sees the fox hanging from the tree. Yeah, what the hell is this? What is this place? You know, right now is normally the cutoff time, but we're going to go a little bit longer, just because, you know, we had that big emotional intro. I wasn't expecting much, and I'm not disappointed as we come up on the pump. Mostly it's just a rusted piece of metal sticking out of the ground. Kudzu seems a bit put off by how lame it is himself. Smaller than I remembered it being. It's something at least. I'll get a few shots of it. I start unpacking the camera from the bag, a bit reluctant to do it for something so insignificant. How'd you find this thing anyway? I look towards the road which is basically hidden by the dense brush in front of me. Needed to take a piss. I know my house is right there, but being outside is, liberating. Ah. Speaking of which, I'm gonna go do that. He pauses. I can do it in front of the pump if you'd like. For effect. I force a laugh, wondering if this is the first time I've heard the raccoon make a joke. At least I hope it's a joke. My laugh turns to a groan, though, when I see the battery level. First, my phone, now this. What's up? Kudzu asks from a bit deeper in the brush, facing away from me. My battery is low, and I'm not gonna have enough for the school. I'll have to go back and grab a spare. Oh. Well, why don't you finish the footage for the pump, and while I run back and grab you another battery? You sure? Well, yeah. It'll be faster. I've been in his house a few times. Where's it at? In a dock on the desk next to his computer. Alright, I'll be back. And with that, Kudzu jogs off out of the brush and back onto the road. Within a minute, I feel like I have all the footage I can get out of the pump. I sigh and rub my face, glad to at least be out of the sun, but annoyed that I've gotten so little footage for it. As I'm doing this, I hear what sounds like a gag behind me. Yeah, I heard something on the audio too. What the fuck was that? I perk my ears and look back. I hear it again, but it's softer, more of a grunt this time. I'm almost positive that Kudzu didn't go that way, but I can't imagine who else it would be. Kudzu? Wonder if maybe the heat has gotten to him. I know how dangerous a heat stroke can be. Getting a little worried, I start moving further into the brush. What the fuck was that? Again, I hear a gag, and it's much louder this time. Cud? You alright? I start pushing deeper with a bit more urgency, and not 20 yards in, I come to a clearing. Oh shit, we've been here too. In one of the Carl dream sequences towards the end. Oh shit. The ground is covered in dead grass, and the sun hits me again with a vengeance. I blink furiously, eyes watering under the brightness of the clearing and the blazing red behind my eyelids. Quick fun fact, I have sun sneezes. And I've been told, allegedly, that those are actually genetic. Where basically, if I suddenly step out into the sun and it bothers my eyes enough, I sneeze. After a few seconds, I'm able to pry my eyes open. The first thing I notice is a peeling trailer to the right, pressed up into the trees. Uh-oh. I have some vague memories of a trailer back here where a grumpy badger used to live. Straight in front of me, in the meadow, is a dead tree, one with the dry, gnarled branches that twist up into the sky. The tree itself would be eerie enough, but it's what's under it that stops me dead. It takes a moment to comprehend what I see. Hanging from the lowest branch is a body. Long and thin, emaciated down to the skeleton. I remain rooted to the spot, my mouth hanging open. Disgustingly, my mind immediately goes to the camera. I don't know why. Yeah, showing footage of a dead body to the whole class. Either I'd get an A for being edgy, or I'd fail for showing a fucking dead body. Probably expelled, actually. I feel my stomach starting to turn, and I'm finally able to take my first step back. But then it moves. It's a quick jerk, one of the skeleton's hands reaching up spasmodically to its neck before slumping back down. With my eyes fully adjusted in the sun now, I recognize the color of the fur, the build of that skeleton-like body. Clint! On unsteady feet, I manage to stumble forward and reach out towards the ringtail, aiming to at least hold him up. I can shout Kudzu over to help. Somehow, though, he's able to spin and face me, his face an expression of mortified fury. His eyes are almost glowing with how bloodshot they are, and his twisted muzzle is covered in drool leaking down his chin onto his chest. Get back. Leave. What? Clint, what the hell are you doing? I move forward again, but Clint lashes out with a foot hitting me in the knee. That's when I see his toes are touching the ground. At least barely. I stare in confusion and look back up to meet Clint's furious eyes. Fucking leave! Spit flies from his muzzle as I take a step back, completely at a loss for words. I don't... His bulging eyes move from mine to look over my shoulder, and his enraged expression melts, eyes growing wider. Slowly I turn around and my vision is filled with a mountain of brown fur. My eyes take a moment to draw out and focus, and when they do, I realize that I'm actually looking at a bear. A huge one, even for a bear. Huge, naked, and carrying a long, thin branch, the bear stands in the direction I come from, grinning stupidly at me. Instinctively, I widen my stance, eyes looking left and right. All reason is seemingly left the land of Echo, and now my brain is left to try and put the pieces of the crazy place back together. I watch as a huge tongue sticks out from between the blubbery lips to lick at them, sliding slimily between the gaps of missing teeth. Once he's done with that, he breaks out into a grin again, those black lips shimmering under the sun. This a friend? Cat? The weirdly high-pitched voice is about as startling as his size. I look back at Clint, who's still struggling to stand on his toes, clutching at the rope now. So hard! Finding a good switch back there. But now, it's worth it. Even there's two of yous. The squeak that comes out of my muzzle seems to perk the bear's stubby ears, and he licks his lips again as he eyes me up and down. I should get going. Sorry about saying. Words fail me as the bear takes a step forward, and I start sidestepping, preparing myself to make a run for it. The bear mimics my stance, and my stomach drops as I see him take another step forward. I change my trajectory and back away instead. This time he doesn't follow me, just grins as he watches me move back into the brush. Clint struggles on the end of his rope, twirling around lazily as he tries to get a foothold. I get one last look at his face as he spins around, and I'm struck by the expression. For a moment, I'm 9 years old again, running behind the buildings on Main Street, probably from imaginary foreign agents of some kind. When I hide behind a tree next to Clint's house, I hear the screen door open, and for several minutes I watch Clint breathing deeply into a rag. I'm too young to understand, but for some reason I know it's not good. When I finally decide to run from my hiding spot, Clint looks up and we meet eyes. His are wide and wild, confused and hurt. Just like now. I stumble into the brush, finally feeling like I'm far enough away to turn and really make a run for it. Jesus. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go ahead and just call it here. That was a rapidly accelerating series of events. Maybe we'll talk about it next time, but for now, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Have a good night, guys.